your eyes to the people in this category. Poverty is a cankerworm and it is really biting hard in many homes. Deadline provides solution to this global poverty in a report on the program Deadline today. This will come your way in today's edition of Deadline. Babatunde Bolati is my name, saying welcome. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has confirmed that it will extend the June 30 deadline for the ongoing continuous voters registration. It was, however, silent on the duration of the extension. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu disclosed this at the Youth Vote Count concert held in Abuja. The awareness campaign was organized by INEC in partnership with European Union support to democratic governance in Nigeria and Yaga Africa. It was aimed at mobilizing youth across the country for the ongoing nationwide civil exercise. Yakubu said that contrary to report, the distribution of permanent voter cards for the ongoing civil exercise will begin in October. Speaking earlier, head of the EU delegation to Nigeria and Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, Ambassador Samuela Isopi, said it is the start of a great change. As Osun gubernatorial election draws nearer, the Independent National Electoral Commission, Osun State Branch, has read out the Riot Act to all stakeholders so as to ensure heat-free exercise. The head of Department Election and Party Monitoring, Alhaji Shehu Mohammed, dropped the hint shortly after featuring on OSBC TV current affairs program Saturday Morning Treats.
The whole did their support for us in order to ensure violence-free election, ensuring that all their subjects are well educated, so that come July 16, Osun governorship election, we have violence-free and a free, fair, credible, and acceptable. We are being guided by Nigeria Constitution and the Electoral Act. In the Electoral Act, we have certain prohibition, of which one of them is the use of our language. The use of our language in the Electoral Act, if a person is found guilty, I think the punishment is 1 million naira, and therefore the party is 2 million naira. I think the aspect of that Electoral Act is there for people to exploit.
According to him, the agency is working in collaboration with EFCC and ICPC to check vote sales and buying, as well as collaborating with security agencies and other stakeholders to ensure a free, fair, and credible poll.
The act of vote buying is worrisome to the Commission, and they will be trying everything possible in order to reduce the incidence. Right? Vote buying is an act of selling your vote for a peanut that is compromising your right to elect a representative. The Commission has the right within the 300-meter radius to the polling unit to apprehend whoever indulges in that act within that vicinity. But outside that, we don't have capacity. But I'm happy to involve you with the collaboration with the EFCC and ICPC. They have the power, the mandate to arrest people, even if that exercise is being carried out inside their room. So the EFCC and ICPC are on top of the situation, and they will do justice to that, so that the issue of vote buying will be addressed in Nigeria electoral process.
The voice of Osun Muslim community regarding the gubernatorial election coming up on the 16th of next month is campaign for peace and tranquility, and that all eligible voters should obtain their voter cards to exercise their franchise. The president of the community, Alhaji Mustafa Olawi, disclosed this at the 25th anniversary of Osun State Muslim Community Press Conference held at the organization's secretariat complex along Ring Road, West Bypass in Osogbo. Abdul Jalil Adebisi was part of the press conference. His reports.
The stand of Osun State Muslim community as regards the state gubernatorial election next month is freedom of choice for all electorate, and that voters should cast their vote for whoever can maximize dividend of humanity and eschew politics of bitterness or buying or vote. The state president of Osun State Muslim Community, Alhaji Mustafa Olawuyi, who stated this at the press conference marking the 25th anniversary of the Islamic organization held at the Association State Secretariat Complex, Ring Road, West Bypass in Osogbo, urged all people of the state to hand their voter card, which is their power, to make a choice of rulership. The president enumerated the achievement of the organization to include constitutionalization of hijabs for school children, Osun State Sharia panel, agricultural mechanization, academic center affiliated to an international university, and cooperation with the government in maintaining peace, among others. Alhaji Olawuyi, who appreciated the governor of the state, Alhaji Adegboyega Oyetola, for unbiased governance, urged the electorate to regard any form of electoral malpractices, such as vote buying and selling, as an un-Islamic act, which must be frowned at, saying no responsible people should abet lewdness in the oncoming election.
It's very important, we, especially the masses, go, you can put out bad government, you can put in good people that will, better your life. But without those PVC, it's nothing. Number two, we want a rancor-free election in Osun State. You thank God for what happened in Ekiti State recently. There was no rancor, no violence, no killing, no hijacking of polling booths and something. In Osun State, it's always more peaceful. We want this one to be a very peaceful, transparent, and fair election.
The Muslim community will on Tuesday visit Form 1 orphanage in Osogbo and Correctional Center in Elisha, while award will be given to the governor, among other dignitaries, on Saturday. Abdul Jalil at DBC, OSBC News.
The National Assembly has been urged to review the constitutional provision that stipulated the emoluments of the Nigerian judges in order to protect the sanctity of their job. A lawyer, Mr. Awuni Yalabi, stated this against the backdrop of the face-off between the Chief Justice of Nigeria and the Justices of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Mr. Alabi was a guest on OSBC TV Current Affairs program Saturday Morning Treat, charged the executive and legislative arms of government to improve the welfare of the judges who are last hope of the common man. He speaks.
What has happened just speaks to the endemic institutional dysfunctions in Nigeria. It shouldn't, the people in government shouldn't have even allowed the situation, the circumstances that gave rise to the outburst, if they are taking care of them. If you appoint somebody as a judge, you have given that person the power of life and death. They are the ones to settle disputes between people, citizens, between citizens and government, and between one agency of government and another. You have a duty to take care of them, that they will not have reasons to be distracted from those all-important functions. It is not the problem of the justices that have spoken up, neither is it the problem of the CJN, but the problem of the leadership of the nation.
President Muhammadu Buhari has hailed Nigerian youth excelling at home and abroad, saying the country will welcome inputs and investments from compatriots with international exposure for the economy to thrive. The president spoke at the town hall meeting with Nigerians in diaspora on the margins of the 26th Commonwealth of Government meeting in Kigali, Rwanda. The president's spokesman, Mr. Femi Adesina, in a statement in Abuja, quoted the president as saying it was a great pleasure to meet with Nigerians in diaspora as part of his regular meetings with them whenever he visits other countries. The president congratulated and commended Yewande Adebowale for emerging as one of the top 4 winners at the Commonwealth Youth Competition at the Kigali Startup Festival 2022 of the Commonwealth Youth Forum. He also commended Esther Olanrewaju and Favor Adenito, who are recipients of the Lakshmi Subramanian CMU African Student per Excellence Award for Masters in Information Technology and Electrical and Computer Engineering. It was gathered that the president commended the level of professionalism of Nigerians living in Rwanda and the amiable nature of their interactions with each other. According to him, living peacefully and in obedience to the laws of the host country is also paramount as it gives Nigerian and Nigeria good names. Buhari noted that with the establishment of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Nigerians abroad could now seamlessly contribute their quota to the national development, especially in the area of investment in the economy. The Independent Marketers Petroleum Association has assured Nigerians that petroleum products, especially premium motor spirit, will be made available, urging Nigerians not to engage in panic buying. The national ex-official of Ipman Southwest, Alhaji Surajuddin Bada, who spoke on behalf of the association, said the current price adjustment was a result of challenges being faced in buying products from government depots. Bada, who was a former Ipman chairman, explained that the inability of his members to buy from government depots made them sell above the regulated pump price. He advised Nigerians not to store petroleum products, saying its members will continue to persevere and be resilient by buying from private depot and selling to members of the public till the products are available in government depots. The federal government has assured that the new National Pasture Development Program, NAPDEP, will reduce herder-farmer conflicts across the country. It was made known by the Director, Department of Animal Husbandry, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Winifred Lai Chulari in Abuja. Lai Chulari explained that the program will create awareness and build capacity of livestock farmers and entrepreneurs in communities to engage in commercial pastures production, on processing and marketing. She further stated that the project development objective is to provide an enabling environment and support for sustainable all-year-round pasture production. The director disclosed that 300 farmers will benefit from the distribution of pasture seed, while the ministry will engage in sensitization and training of farmers on various techniques of sown pasture production and management. We now go on a short commercial break. Dateline continues shortly.
Báwo ṣe máa so NIN number wa mọ́ òpó ìpè Cloline wa? Ó simple. Ìwọ testa 109 ash.
Irú àwa tí a wà ní nọ́mbà ìdánimọ̀ NIN yìí rárá ń kọ́.
Ẹ lọ sí ẹ̀ka ilé ìtajà Glo kẹ́ ẹ lọ fi orúkọ yín sílẹ̀ níbẹ̀. Òun lè bá ṣe lówó bá dé. Ẹ dákun, ẹ jọ̀wọ́, báwo lèmi náà yóò ṣe jàǹfààní káàdì ìpè ẹgbẹ̀rún-lọ́nà-ogún náírà lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́? Ṣé ẹ rí àwọn oníbàárà Glo tuntun? Àti àwọn tó ti wà ń bẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀. Ǹjẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ pé gbogbo wa pátápátá òun la láǹfààní àti jẹ káàdì?
Èmi náà mo ti gba ẹgbẹ̀rún-lọ́nà-ogún náírà.
Welcome back. You're now welcome to our sports segment. Chelsea has been linked with a shock move for United Portuguese star Cristiano Ronaldo after Blues owner Odd Boehly reportedly held talks with the agent Jorge Mendes. Ronaldo is entering with the final year of his contract with United, and according to the Athletic, 37-year-old is concerned about the club not matching his ambition in the transfer window after a disappointing season. He claimed that Boli held talk with Ronaldo's agent Mendes in Portugal, where the Portuguese future and potential move to Stamford Bridge, one of the subjects discussed. It was gathered that Ronaldo had been offered to the Blues. United planned on keeping the former Real Madrid and Juventus forward, and it is largely expected that he will remain at the club while it is not clear whether Chelsea will make a serious move. The war in Ukraine has been high on the agenda as leaders of some of the world's most powerful nations meet in Germany. The G7 summit is being dominated by discussion over Russia's invasion and how Ukraine can be supported. Leaders are expected to promise further military support to Kyiv and impose more sanctions on Moscow. The meeting host, Chancellor Olaf Scholz, said unity over Ukraine was the G7's clear message to Russian President Vladimir Putin. Reports say UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has appealed for the West to continue to support Ukraine and be honest about the implications the support may have on their own nation. US President Joe Biden has appealed for unity in both the G7 and NATO in the face of Russia's invasion, while UK, US, Canada, and Japan will ban imports of Russian gold in an effort to hit Moscow's ability to fund the war. We now go on a short break. Deadline continues shortly. Welcome to Deadline Proper, and we want to start off with this report. Deadline package by Sonia Ononide, the governor's office correspondent, reviewed the political activities of Governor Adegboyega Oyetola during the week towards his re-election in the July 16th gubernatorial poll. This report.
Oyetola, it was an homecoming as the campaign train for his re-election in the 16th July gubernatorial election hit Iragbeji in Boripe local government area as well as Ikirun, a fellow local government area of the state of Osun, to the warm embrace of mammoth of party supporters who received him, chanting of party slogans at the palace of Iragbeji and Ikirun town hall, where he was showered with royal blessings. Governor Oyetola, who commended the residents for demonstrating unflinching support for his administration, urged the traditional rulers and the leadership of the All Progressive Congress in the area to ensure that eligible voters in the area collect their permanent voters card in ensuring impressive results in the July 16 gubernatorial election. Governor Oyetola noted that he remained focused in transforming the state into an enviable hive. Iragbeji of Iragbeji, Oba Abdulrasheed Olabomi, Elende of Ikoinde, Oba Rafiu Olaniyan, Eburu of Iba, Oba Adekunle Okoye, Oloba of Oba Agun, Oba Jima Adebisi Okunade, among other traditional rulers and chiefs in the area, enthused that Governor Adegboyega Oyetola has made the people of Boripe and Ifelodun local government areas proud by being a good ambassador, as demonstrated with the monumental achievements recorded across the state. Governor Oyetola, who arrived at St. Peter's Primary School in Iragbeji, as well as at Holy Trinity Secondary School, Okeafo, Ikirun, amid heroic ovation by Timi party supporters, recited that he is undaunted in doing the needful in terms of provision of basic infrastructural developments, as well as welfare policies that satisfies the yearnings and aspirations of Osun residents. The governor therefore appealed to aggrieved party members to sheath their sword and join hands in ensuring victory for the party in the forthcoming gubernatorial election.
Well, it makes that the party is clearly very popular. The party is the party of the people. And by extension, the victory of our party in our state, Osun State, sure.
Governor Fayemi did very well. So it's only natural that people want somebody that decides to nominate for you to run their affairs. And also we believe in continuity. And by any standard, I've done very well. By any standard. So I will expect that people will support me to continue to do what I'm doing for them. So I look forward to winning the election on 16th of July, 2022, by the grace of Almighty God. It to them is that they continue to support us. We are there for them, and we'll do better than what we have done now. Give the opportunity to have a second chance.
The state chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Prince Gboyega Famodun, the Director General of Oyetola's Campaign Council, Senator Ajibola Bashir, Prince Adebayo Adeleke, Engineer Hussein Olaniyan, among other party stalwarts who spoke in turn, emphasized that a vote for the All Progressive Congress in the forthcoming gubernatorial election represents sustenance of good governance under the leadership of Governor Adegboyega Oyetola, as well as a brighter future for the state.
Purely Boripe local government people. That is what you can see. You can see how crowded it is. We have no fear. We are more than prepared. We are ready.
We are fully prepared. We have mobilized our people to go and pick their CVCs from NANEC offices. We have sensitized them on the need to be orderly during elections.
The campaign train for the re-election of Governor Adegboyega Oyetola in the forthcoming gubernatorial election cruised into Atakumasa East and Atakumasa West local government areas of the state of Osun amid jubilation and fanfare by party supporters in the area. Governor Oyetola, who paid courtesy call at the palace of Olosunjela of Osunjela Ijesha, as well as the Perido Town Hall and the palace of Oloshu of Oshu, to receive the symbolic royal blessings, reassured the residents of the areas that commendable achievements recorded across the state would further be extended if re-elected in the forthcoming gubernatorial election. Olosunjela of Osunjela Ijesha, Oba Abdurrahman Babatunde Muhammad, who spoke through Oba Olanrewaju Olaosebikan Agbadahe of Igbadahe Ijesha, as well as Alama of Ayegbaju Ijesha, Oba Abdin Adeyemi Oloja of Ibodi, Oba Omishade Agboluaje Adimola of Ifewara, Oba Ezekiel Ogolola, supported by other traditional rulers and chiefs in the area, lauded Governor Adegboyega Oyetola for his exemplary imprints visible in infrastructural developments, overall welfare of the citizenry, education, as well as quality health care delivery across the state, addressing the members and party supporters who thronged Ipenido Community High School as well as Atakumasa High School, Oshu. Governor Oyetola maintained that he is in government basically to serve the people, added that years of experience in private business and public service has equipped him with what it takes to deliver the good of the majority as currently unfolding across the state. Speaking on the capacity of Governor Adegboyega Oyetola in the heart of good governance, the state chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Prince Gboyega Famodun, the Director General of Oyetola's Campaign Council, Senator Ajibola Bashir, former members of the House of Representatives, Honorable Ajibola Famureba, as well as Honorable Babatunde Komalafe, representing Atakumasa East and Atakumasa West constituency in the State House of Assembly, submitted that the state of Osun has never had it so good in terms of regular and prompt payment of workers' salary and emoluments, infrastructural developments, educational transformations, qualitative health care delivery, among other welfare packages for the citizenry across across the state.
What is happening today is quite different with what happened 4 years ago. Today, I can assure you, we are going to win in all the 6 local governments in the Ishaland.
That they should go out and vote for Governor Boyega Oyetola.
Dignitaries on the campaign train with Governor Adeboyega Oyetola, including the wife of the governor, Mrs. Kavayat Oyetola, the deputy governor, Mr. Benedict Alabi, Mrs. Oyefunke Alabi, the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Honorable Timothy Oweye, Chief of Staff to the Governor, Dr. Charles Akinola, stalwarts and members of the All Progressive Congress from across the state. The campaign train for the re-election of Governor Adeboyega Oyetola in the forthcoming gubernatorial election also pulled up at Ijesha North Federal Constituency, comprising Obokun Local Government Area, Obokun East Local Council Development Area, Oriade Local Government Area, as well as Oriade Local Council Development Area in the state of Osun, while receiving royal blessings at the Palace of Alademore of Ibokun, as well as the Palace of Elegboro of Ijebu-Jesha. Governor Oyetola, who commended the royal fathers for their prayers with positive results, said that more developmental projects and welfare policies are in the pipeline if re-elected in the forthcoming gubernatorial election. In their separate remarks, Owamiran of Esauke, Oba Adeyemi Adediran, Alademore of Ibokun, Oba Festus Awogboro, Ajalaye of Ipetu Ijesha, Oba Adeleke Agunbiade, Elegboro of Ijebu-Ijesha, Oba Moses Oluwafemi Agunsoye, on behalf of other traditional rulers and chiefs in the area, paid glowing tributes for the outstanding performance recorded, describing him as competent, pragmatic, a leader par excellence with humane heart, affirming that there's a need for good work to continue under the leadership of Governor Adeboyega Oyetola across the state, addressing the teeming crowd of party supporters at Ibokun roundabout as well as at Ijebu-Jesha market. Governor Oyetola noted that a vote for Oyetola in the forthcoming gubernatorial election represents a quantum leap towards the actualization of Yoruba presidency personified by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the benefit of all across the state of Osun, adding that he is poised to surpass what is currently unfolding in terms of meeting the yearnings and aspirations of the people across the state.
We recognize the fact that the existence, only has been existent for a while, but things are changing. I believe with the turnout and the performance during the primary, I believe it's not the same thing. We are making serious inroads into it. We're going to win, but I'm confident about that. Based on the performance of the government,
the state chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Prince Boyega Famodo, the Director General of Oyetola's Campaign Council, Senator Ajibola Bashir, as well as the leadership of the All Progressive Congress in Ijesha North Federal Constituency, including Otumba Jumoke Ogunkeyede, Alhaji Nasir Komonlafe, Honorable Natalia Agunbiade, Honorable Bosun Oyintiloye, among other speakers who were pretty much eloquent in reeling out the laudable achievements recorded in all ramifications across the state, enjoined the residents to reciprocate the good gesture in the forthcoming gubernatorial election in sustaining the good governance. Dignitaries on the campaign train with Governor Adeboyega Oyetola, including the wife of the governor, Mrs. Kavayat Oyetola, the deputy governor, Mr. Benedict Alabi, Mrs. Oyefunke Alabi, former Deputy Governor, Mrs. Grace Titilayo Ponle, Chief of Staff to the Governor, Dr. Charles Akinola, members of the State Executive Council, members of the State House of Assembly, the leadership and members of the All Progressive Congress from across the state. From the Governor's Office, Sanya Honorinde for Dateline.
Still talking elections. Do you know that there are millions of people in Nigeria who do not vote because of the exigency of their profession? Who are this set of people? You may want to ask. Find out in this Dateline report put together by Oluwatoyin Yusuf and presented from our studios.
spends around 200 million each time there is a general election. Analyst says the election do not always record credibility because few million voters participate. The question is, what happens to the rest of Nigerians who do not vote? First, millions of Nigerians who are below the statutory 18 years of maturity are not allowed to obtain permanent voters card and so cannot vote. Second, many parents push their eligible wives and children to obtain PVCs, not for election but for other exigencies such as admission, mobilization for NYSC, enlistment in the military or paramilitary bodies, and the rest. These Nigerians do not vote. Third, hundreds of thousands of car members who have kids have been deployed away from their states of origin and at the same time may have been mobilized as INEC ad hoc staff to take part in the elections. They do not vote. Thousands of eligible voters register with INEC under non-governmental organizations and civil society organizations as election observers. These observers in their own states have voters' cards but will not vote on election days. Fifth, officers and men of Army, Navy, Air Force, police, and paramilitary organizations are often deployed for elections to maintain peace and order. These officers and men do not always vote. Six are staff of INEC who see themselves as neutral in the game. They are Nigerians, but the nature of their job disenfranchises them. There are journalists who monitor elections and are posted away from where they have registers to exercise these all-important civil rights. Hundreds of broadcast journalists and engineers will be on duty on election days, systematically disenfranchised. Patients in public and private hospitals do not vote, and so are health workers, often called to emergencies. One can imagine the population of this category of Nigerians across health facilities in the country. One can also add suspects in police cells and correctional centers. These suspects in captivity lack the freedom to vote. A cross-section of Nigerians, because of their own understanding of the faith they profess, see democracy as ungodly and do not take part in elections. Very early on election day, some farmers, bricklayers, carpenters, and other artisans leave for farms and other places of work, only to return in the evening at the conclusion of voting. These Nigerians do not believe election can change their plight. With all this, one can now calculate conservatively millions of Nigerians who do not always vote. Police Public Relations Officer, Osun State Command, Yemisi Okpalola, said police officers and men are Nigerians and love to exercise their civic responsibilities if their job allows it during election.
During the election, we will be the ones that will be at different polling units to protect the lives and the electoral properties that is there. So that is why we cannot leave our beats. We might have registered in a place, and before the election time comes, we might have been transferred out of that place. And that is the reason why we cannot, most of the time it doesn't vote. But if you are not on duty, you can vote. But virtually everyone will be deployed to one place or the other.
Mrs. Abimbola Babatunde is the Director of News and Current Affairs, OSBC Radio. She bears a mind on the matter.
Most of the time, we are always on ground on election days. Maybe governorship election, House of Assembly, National Assembly, or presidential election. We are expected to be in the office as early as 6 a.m. on election days. We'll be in the office to send reporters out, to be on here to tell people at home what is happening in the field, what is happening where people are voting. So most times, we are always on duty, we are always on the job. We don't have time to go to our various wards where we registered to participate in the voting exercise.
Osun Resident Electoral Commissioner Professor Abdul Ghani Raji explains that the electoral law does not allow for such. However, assured that the Commission is working towards legalizing the entire process so that no one will be disenfranchised.
We are making efforts, but not until when we are empowered constitutionally. During the last review of the Electoral Act, it has not been injected into the Constitution. In some other countries, actually I was in Ghana during the presidential election as one of the monitors from Nigeria. I actually led the team. And they told us that they had conducted election for this category of people a week earlier. And they showed us the ballot boxes that were sealed. Their votes had not been counted, just for transparency. So that at the end of the election, they will now open those ballot boxes and count. With that, nobody would know who they voted for. Ordinarily, votes conducted a week earlier, people can now say, oh, okay, the security agent voted for this party, they voted for it. So they match the results together. So, but constitutionally, in this country, we are not yet there.
Analysts have called out to the National Orientation Agency and the Ministry of Information and Civic Orientation to do more on the need for Nigerians to take active part in electoral processes in order to give elections credibility.
Despite their eligibility, some Nigerians don't vote. Experts have called on the federal government and all the stakeholders in the economic sector to go back to the drawing board and map out ways and solutions to the problems facing the nation's economy. They made a call consequent upon the projection of the World Bank that an additional 1 million Nigerians may fall into poverty towards the end of this year. Our reporter, Oluwatobi Loba, has the report.
The World Bank has projected that the prevailing economic crisis in Nigeria is likely to push an additional 1 million Nigerians into poverty by the end of 2022, on top of the 6 million Nigerians that were already predicted to fall into poverty this year because of the rise in prices, particularly food prices. This, which was contained in the latest edition of the World Bank Nigeria Development Update, NDU, highlights that Nigeria is in a paradoxical situation. Growth prospects have improved compared to 6 months ago, but inflationary and fiscal pressures have increased considerably, leaving the economy much more vulnerable. The latest edition of the NDU highlights that the inflationary pressures will be compounded by the fiscal pressures Nigeria will face this year because of the ballooning cost of gasoline subsidies, as at a time when oil production continues to decline. Hence, Nigeria, for the first time since its return to democracy and alone amongst major oil exporters, is unlikely to benefit physically from the windfall opportunity created by higher global oil prices, according to World Bank Country Director for Nigeria, Soban Chaudhry. When they launched Nigeria's previous development update in November 2021, they estimated that Nigeria could stand to lose more than 3 trillion naira in revenues in 2022 because the proceeds from crude oil sales, instead of going to the Federation account, will be used to cover the rising cost of gasoline subsidy that mostly benefits the rich.
Potential has not been realized, and certainly the last few years have been very difficult. But even if you go back to the last few decades, Nigeria, as we've said, has been floating rather than rising. And that cannot continue indefinitely. And so we think that now the COVID crisis was like a wake-up call. The challenges since then, even though as the economy has recovered, but it needs to recover at a much quicker pace. The growth has to be much more inclusive. As you said, it's not just having high levels of economic growth. That has to translate into jobs and economic opportunities for all Nigerians.
According to reports, Nigeria's growing macroeconomic challenges in 2022 highlight the continuing urgency of departure from business as usual and the need for consensus around the package of robust reforms. The reports highlight 3 policy priorities, including reducing inflation through sequenced and coordinated mix of the exchange rate, trade, monetary, and fiscal policies, the adoption of a single market responsive exchange rate, and addressing mounting fiscal pressures at the federal and subnational levels, while facing out the petrol subsidy estimated to cost up to 5 trillion naira in 2022. In addition to assessing Nigeria's economic situation, the edition of the NDU also cast a spotlight on the unintended effect of Nigeria's trade restrictions, the importance of investing in adolescent girls to diffuse Nigeria's demographic time bomb, and the imperative of bringing Nigerians out of school children back to school. Speaking on the causes for the warning against the project in separate interviews, economists including Dr. Yinka Andrews and Professor Kehinde Olusegun maintain that the issues affecting Nigeria's economy is known to both the governed and the government, noting that the causes include the insecurity insecurity, adding to why farmers cannot farm as usual, inadequate supply of water and energy, poor education system, and poor healthcare deliveries.
One major cause is the fact that we depended and we still depend on a monolithic economy, our income from our crude oil. What is wrong with us? I don't know. We have greatest abundance of resources. Put this on quote, the most blessed country in the whole world, not even US, is Nigeria. But our leaders, I don't know what's wrong. Our managers, the managers of our economy are sleeping. Let me reel out what we are missing. Water, light, that is power, food, house, education and health. They are 6 major items. If any country misses out in any of these things, that country is to your tent, O Israel. And Nigeria is now one of them.
We know that right now, prices, in fact, global prices generally are skyrocketing, okay? The challenge between Russia and Ukraine is a serious challenge that is threatening energy and precipitating a crisis in the energy sector across the world because of the issue of gas, fuel, and the rest of it. And we also know, if we bring it down even to Nigeria, Nigeria has multifaceted challenges that if we're not careful, right now, people are going through hard times. People are migrating, not because they want to live go away from where they are originating from, but simply because things are more difficult. And they know, the Western world understands that when a problem arises in a country, especially in third world countries, they want to go to Europe, they want to go to America. So they know that it's going to pose security challenges for them too. So in advance, these Bretton Woods institutions are quickly making those comments so that people can pay particular attention, to the crisis that we have at the moment.
The duo, speaking on the possible way to avert these foreseen circumstances, maintain that the government only depends on a monolithic economy, which is not supposed to be so, stressing that there is need for the government to step up their games in redirecting physical resources to investments in infrastructure facilities, education, and health services, including the stability of the distribution of energy and catalyzing private investment to boost job creation by improving the transparency of key government to business services and eliminating trade restrictions.
First, let us take care of food. As I speak now, as rain is falling now, if you look at individuals that have space in their houses, including yours truly, we are planting things. It's so free that you don't need to add any manure. It will grow on its own accord. That's the blessing I'm talking about. So we have no cause complaining that we don't have food. Never, we should not. So both the governed and the government should do a rethink to do something about food. We have no cause to claim that our foods are scarce.
We are living in a situation of insecurity. The elections are around the corner. The politicians are spending the money. That in itself puts pressure on the currency.
The government are very slow about when it comes to feeding your own country on a normal ground, Like you as a rich man, you're passing now. You can buy anything. But the poor, at times, they find it difficult.
The government can help. Look at it, we have no food. We have food in Nigeria. God bless Nigeria to the extent of we have everything. But our leaders are not in the right places to make everything okay for us.
They however noted that Nigeria is the most blessed nation with so many resources, including water, land, and energy, among others, adding that it is high time Nigeria started making judicious use of these resources. Oluwa Tobiloba Odunuga reporting for OSBC News.
That report by Oluwatobiloba Odunuga concludes today's edition of Dateline. Thank you for watching. It was produced by Temitope Abdul Karim, and production assistant is Abdul Jalil Adebisi. Babatunde Bolatito is my name. Good night.
Hunger